So today we will start with recording start. Yeah. So today we'll start with GenAI. Okay, GenAI, and in this basically we will see how we can create a app or any application using LLM. So before that, I just want to tell how the GenAI evolved. Okay, what was the history behind GenAI? Okay, so so in 1950, uh, the first thing that is related to AI that is came as a machine learning. Okay, machine learning. So at that time, scientists able to uh, they have some mathematical formulas or expression. They thought that if they apply, uh, yeah. So in 1950, machine learning came, and scientists, basically some of the researchers, identified. Okay, so if we can train a model means that will be a set of. It is a mathematical expression where there will be input and output, and based on that, uh, assume there are some sort of mathematical expression, and it will require some data and computation. Okay, so what was the requirement? Data and computational resources. Okay, to develop machine learning model. So computational resources means mainly computer which can compute, right? So at that time the computer capability was very less. Okay, and the size of computer is as big as a rooms. Okay, so and right now means at that time the computer was very big, so they don't have much computational capability. Okay, and also they don't have enough data in digital format, right? um, so because of that, this field because of that this machine learning field not able to evolve at that time. Okay, so now from 1950 to 2000. Okay, so from 2000 they means uh, the computer was much more powerful. Okay, computer become much more powerful. uh, Computer become much more powerful. Okay, and also they means uh, we because of internet they able to get some data. Okay, so this data criteria also some means not much, but somehow they able to get the data criteria as well. So these two criteria able to fulfill, and before that they was not able to fulfill this criteria. So because of that machine learning field in 1950s was not evolved. Okay, in 2000 this machine learning field start evolving. Okay, um, because of data and computational resources. So in machine learning, mainly if we see what machine learning do. Okay, so it is like let's say if you have to get some output, you write certain line of rules. Okay, and you define rule by um, let's say in Python, if we have to write something or some output we want, So we write some line of code. Okay. So we are giving manual instruction. But in machine learning, these instructions learn by machines. Okay. And if you ask them to write a code, they will write it. Okay. You are not means they able to learn those patterns. Okay. But in machine learning, they use for prediction and classification. Prediction and classification. For example, let's say if there is a means uh, uh, this is a size, room size. Okay. Room size or flat size maybe, and this is a price. Okay. So they have some sort of data. Okay. And they plotted those data. So let's say uh, till this point, for example, 100 square feet, 200, and let's say 1000. Okay. So this is how its prices are there. Okay. Now let's say if I want to predict the price, if I don't have the price for this point, let's say it is at 1200 and I want to predict the price. So machine learning basically able to predict those things. Okay. So that is the one thing. And there are some classification algorithm which basically classify it as a means uh, maybe there are different sort of classification, binary classification, and there are multi-level classification. Okay. So classification is nothing but a separation of, let's say if you have a uh, some data, let's say this is a uh, there is some data related to cancer and non-cancer. Okay. So machine learning able to classify whether if we input some data, then it will classify whether it belong to cancer or non-cancer. Okay. So this is just one examples. So the machine learning work like this. Okay. But in machine learning the problem was it was not able to understand image, speech, okay, or video, all those things. So for that, there after machine learning, one new field came that is called deep learning. Deep learning. So this field mainly become famous after 2010. Okay, around 2010, this deep learning become famous. So it able to understand image, speech. Okay, and so like in image in the sense, let's say whether this is a dog, dog, cat, person image is there, or let's say in traffic light different types of symbols are there. Okay. So you with the help of deep learning it able to identify what sort of image it is. Okay. Just it will tell the name of that, whether it belong to cat, dog. So this is how deep learning uh, mainly works. And also it is used for means many places in healthcare sector. Also it means people uses for, let's say they have some CT scan or some x-ray report. Okay. So based on that also they able to classify uh, whether it has injury or not. Similarly for brain tumor, uh, people have trained, so since deep learning can understand the image, so that is there. But the problem with deep learning was that they don't have memory. Okay. They don't have memory. Memory in the sense, so let's say ki it not able to, based on the previous context, it not able to tell uh, what may happen. Okay. So it is doing prediction, but it not able to understand the previous thing. So for example, let's say uh, in stock market, let's say if I take some simple example. Okay, so let's say if this is a here, this is a time and this is a price of one stock. Okay, so if I have to know, let's say this price, okay, at this point, the deep learning model doesn't have the capability to understand the previous context. So previous means before that, these are the things, right? So it doesn't have the capability to understand the previous context. Definitely, let's say if this context is dependent on the previous thing or previous time. Okay. Um, so deep learning model doesn't have that thing. Okay, it doesn't have memory. So for that, there are few term called RNN and LSTM. Okay. So RNN is basically a recursive neural network, and LSTM is uh, long short term memory. Okay, so they have some sort of memory, but still they're not able to um, they don't have uh, they have very short memory. Okay, so the problem was they're not able to capture the longer context. So for example, they can remember the things for example last 1 days. Okay, but if I say, okay, based on the previous 100-day data, just predict the price. Okay, so they don't have that much memory. They will miss the they do not able to remember those things. Okay, so that was the problem with RNN and LSTM. So this mainly came at around 2015. uh, it became famous earlier also, it was there, but it became famous at around 2015. Now the big mm, in terms of memory, so there is one paper came that is called very famous paper, attention is all you need. And this paper is basically published by Google. Okay, so Google DeepMind, uh, they have published this paper, and this paper mainly because of this paper they have given architecture of transformer model. Transformer model. Okay, so this basically solve the problem of short-term memory. Now the AI can have a bigger memory, or they can understand the longer context. Okay, so with the help of transformer model, uh, they able to basically have a memory as well. Okay, so transformer model has two things. One is encoder and other is decoder. And from means because of this paper only, this generative AI field came, and all the LLM, the base is in this paper. Okay, so because of the transformer, means basically in this paper they have given the transformer model, and because of this transformer model only the generative AI field evolve. Okay, so this attention is all you need is published by Google. Okay, so and it has encoder and decoder. So if I again tell transformer has encoder and decoder. Okay, so encoder means encode something. Okay, so let's say uh, if I write hi, I am Bipin. Okay. So it will create some sort of encoding. So encoding is nothing but it is a let's say I have a 10 numbers. Just I've given some example. So I have a one box where I can store 10 numbers. Okay. And this number dependent on uh, so these numbers will be dependent on what is written. So here, hi, I am Bipin. So it will encode into a number. So let's say 0.3, and this number will be learned by machine, not us. Okay, 0.2. Uh, Similarly, let's say 0.88. Okay, so there are 10 numbers we can assume. Okay, and in encoder part, it will basically encode that into a number. Okay, decoder part will basically use to generate something. Okay, decoder part will able to use to generate. Okay, so let's say if I write uh, the cat sat on. Okay, so let's say if I have given this input, cat sat on, so it will generate some word. It may be the uh, okay, a anything it can generate. So it task is to just generate. So based on this word, it will generate a new word. Okay, so now uh, so in transformer, as I said, there are two part, encoder and decoder. Okay, so this encoder part means, since Google has published this transformer paper, so they started working on encoder part. Okay, so mainly Google started working on encoder part, and at that time one new company came. Uh, at that time one new company came called OpenAI. Okay, OpenAI mainly founded on 2015. Okay, and initially OpenAI started with uh, basically a non-profit research lab in the field of AI. And who invested in this? So Sam Altman. Okay, so the founder was like Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and there are some other people, but they are two famous people. So Sam Altman and Elon Musk. So currently, OpenAI, the Chat GPT is owned by OpenAI. Okay, and Sam Altman is the basically a CEO. Okay, uh, so at that time they started working on decoder part. Google was Google developed the transformer paper or transformer architecture, but they started working on encoder part, and the decoder part. Uh, OpenAI mainly started working on decoder part. Okay, so from in 2018, so this paper came in 2017. In 2018, two new things come in the market. So one is called BERT. Okay, and other is called GPT-1. Okay, so in 2018, so two things come. One is called BERT, okay, and other is for GPT-1. So BERT was developed by Google, okay, and GPT is developed by OpenAI. Okay, so BERT is mainly used for uh, uh, classification. Okay, it it able to if I tell it able to understand the text. Okay, so let's say if I write something in text format, so this BERT model can understand, and also it was used for search. So mainly once BERT came, so Google in their search engine, in background they use BERT. So BERT is basically converting into a, means let's say if you ask anything to um, let's say in web browser, if you ask anything to Google search, uh, then it will convert that into a number. Okay, the embedding basically we called it as a text to number, uh, so that encoder only. Okay, so encoding part. So once that converted into encoding or number, so that we called it as a embedding. Okay, so but is mainly but was doing that thing. Okay, and based on that they basically try to find some similar embedding or similar number. So uh, based on that they able to give the output. Okay, so it is like let's say if I search something, okay, maybe chat gpt. Okay, if I ask just in Google browser, if I ask chat gpt, so it will convert into a some number. Okay, and then in their database there are lots of such sort of embedding. So they will try to find the similar embedding. Okay, so there are different method, like one is a cosine similarity, based on which we can find the closest similar number. Okay, yeah, so they have basically used this in their browser. Okay, now GPT is a decoder model, so they mainly, so this is a generation model, generation model. So like if I write what is the capital of India, okay, so it will generate some answer. Okay, so it is like it will tell, okay, Delhi. Okay, so GPT-1 was basically a generation model, and this all so in 2018 two things came, BERT and GPT-1. Okay, and this GPT-1 has total 117 parameter, 117 million parameter. So 1 million is around 1 million is around 10 lakh. Okay, so GPT-1 has 117 million parameter, and from this point basically the journey of LLM started. Okay, so in 2000, this come in 2018. Okay, now in 2019 they have released one more model, means like GPT-5, right? Right now we are, what we are saying, GPT-5, right? So in 2019 GPT-2 came. Okay, and this has 1.75 billion parameter, 1.75 billion parameter. Okay, and so 1 billion is approximately 100 cr. Okay, so this has 1.75 billion parameter. Now, so means they have seen, now means let's say the capability of GPT-2 is was like they able to generate stories, poem. Okay, but they haven't released. They thought that it is a super powerful thing and people will misuse this thing. Okay, but so because of that they haven't released to the public. Okay, now here Azure comes. Oh, sorry, Azure. Microsoft came into picture. So Microsoft, by seeing GPT-2 they have given some demo to Microsoft people, and Microsoft basically invested $1 billion dollar to OpenAI. $1 billion to OpenAI, and they also provide Azure infra for computation. Okay, so before that they don't have enough budget to basically develop model, because this model require high computation. As you have already seen, this has 1.75 billion parameter. Okay, yeah. So 1.75 billion parameter means, if I talk about the parameter, so parameter is, let's say, one point means there is a one box where 1.75 billion numbers are there. Okay, 1.75 billions number are there inside that. So it is like a formula for that model. Okay, yeah. Now in 2020 they release GPT-3. Okay, and that was this has more capability. Now it is behaving or giving answer like human. Again, it able to understand the context. uh, One more capability was few sort. So few sort is nothing but, if you give some example, okay, um, let's say if you want to perform some task. Okay, so to make to if you want to make them machine to understand this thing, we give some examples. Okay, um, many times people not able to understand, so we give some example. Okay, right. So similarly in few sort we give some example to machine, and based on that they will, okay, what user want, they able to figure it out. So that has this capability. Now in 2022 November, they released one model called GPT 3.5. GPT 3.5. And we have basically the same thing like Chat GPT. Okay, just they have created a app which name is Chat GPT, but inside in background GPT 3.5. So there the parameter are in trillions. Okay, 1T. Also till GPT 2. Okay, so that Open AI name was Open AI, and GPT-2, till GPT-2 they have open source the model. Okay, basically they have given the architecture, and anyone can use or create. But when GPT-3 came, they haven't released the formula or how they have created that thing. So they haven't. So OpenAI is become closed. Okay, means it become private company. Earlier it was a non-profit organization, but now they change it into a profit organization. Um, so GPT 3.5 came in 2022, November 2022. Okay, and parallelly there are some other model came. Uh, if you see, there are many new player come. So initially it was in LLM only OpenAI was there, but when Microsoft deal happened, at that time some of the people they are not happy with that deal, so they created one company called Anthropic. So Anthropic was so from OpenAI there are some people who work in, means they created a company called Anthropic. they thought that ChatGPT was not safer AI. Okay, and they also not happy with Microsoft investment uh, on OpenAI. So they left that company and they created a one new company called Anthropic. We also known it as a Claude. So they name their model Claude. Okay, so Anthropic is a company and their model name is Claude. Similarly, OpenAI is a company and their model name is GPT. Okay, and then Google also facing the heat. So Google also uh, parallelly they also working on this LLM model. So initially they Google, if I talk about Claude, so they have released right now Claude 1, 2, 3, 4 right now, and 4.1 is a latest one. So Claude 2, Claude 3, Claude 4, Claude 4.1. Okay. Now Google also, when the Chat GPT released in September 2022, and in so Google also, because initially in 2000 around 2015 any new means Google was aggressively investing on AI companies. Okay, so any if any new company come on AI or a startup, they mainly acquire, okay, those company. But still, the transformer paper was released by Google only, and that was free, anyone can use it. But still they not able to basically create the, means their LLM quality was not that good as compared to the OpenAI. Okay, so they also facing the heat. So they released one model called uh, they mainly they started with Palm. Okay, so Palm was one model, then they released Bard. But Bard was not that successful, so they rename it to Gemini. Gemini we call it, right? GEMNI. Okay, and so and they also mainly charging, means similar to like Chat GPT ask us to pay something, right? So there are some open thing, but let's say if you use a API, so you have to pay something, right? The model formula was not given. So Anthropic, Google, Chat GPT, all was paid. Now similarly, one more player come into picture called Meta. So Meta is mainly Facebook. Facebook parent company is Meta. So they they also come into picture and they released open source model. Open source model. Open source means anyone can use it, and means they release the model weights. Uh, so model weight are like formula. So they have given formula in public so that anyone can use this formula in their computer and then they can run this model. Okay. So they are free. So they have model like Llama 1, 2, 3, 3.1 and 4. Latest is a 4, Llama 4. Similarly, some people, so in Meta also, some people are from uh, OpenAI. They basically Meta hire those people to their this his company. Similarly, one more company, Mistral. So Mistral is they also released a open source model, and this is also mainly people from OpenAI and other companies. They joined and create a startup called Mistral, and they release Mistral model. Okay, now uh, okay, Mistral. Now there are some player who are basically uh, uh, hosting those model. Okay, hosting those model. Uh, just for your information, let's say if I have a 1 billion parameter model, okay, 1 billion parameter model, then, okay, sorry, before that, there are some two more model, uh, which are called Quen and DeepSeek. So there are other as well, but these are two very famous. So these two model are mainly developed by Chinese. Before that, all those model are from Europe or USA, mostly ChatGPT, Anthropic, okay, and Google. These are uh, mainly Google. OpenAI means head office is in USA. Similarly, Anthropic head office is also in USA. Mistral, that is a European company, uh, but this Quen and DeepSeek, so they developed by Chinese. Okay, so in 2025, means January 2025. Okay, January 2025, DeepSeek released its first model. Okay, so, and that is open source. Earlier also Meta also released open source model, but their model quality was not good as compared to ChatGPT. Okay, so but DeepSeek uh, is open source, and they uh, the quality of output uh, is comparable to ChatGPT. So because of that, this DeepSeek become very famous. And similarly, like Quen also is an open source model, and they are become very famous. So in DeepSeek, they have 671 billion parameter. Okay, and Quen giving same performance with 235 billion parameter. Okay, now so 1 billion, if I have to run 1 billion parameter, okay, so at least the thumb rule is I will require some 2.5 GB GPU. Okay, uh, so let's say 1 billion, I will require 2.5 GB GPU. So let's say if I required 4 billion parameter, if I have to run 4 billion parameter model, this I am talking about open source model. Okay, so you will require at least 10 GB GPU. If you check your machine, okay, most of the people will have 2 GB GPU. I'm not talking about CPU. So CPU, you can have a 16 GB RAM, that is mainly a CPU, but most people will have a 2 GB GPU. So the cost, let's say if I talk about some laptop like 6 GB GPU, okay, and let's say 16 GB RAM, the cost of this computer will come around 1.5 lakh. Okay, so this is a very basic GPU, and this GPU is also, in GPU also there are, this is I'm talking about RTX 3080. Okay, so in GPU also there are different things. So this, so this is just for 6 GB. If you have to run uh, so this is a 6 GB cost. So if you have to, let's say 4 billion parameter will require 10 GB GPU. So you can assume the cost, it will be more than 2 lakh, right? So let's say if you have to run, means DeepSeek, Meta, they have released the open source model. They have given the formula, but their model size is, let's say if I talk about DeepSeek, 671 billion parameter. So how many, what will be the GPU size? Approximately 1500 GB. Okay, so for 6 GB the cost was 1.5 lakh, right? So for 1500 GB you can assume the cost. So for normal people it was not possible to run those run this model in their local machine. So because of that, so some people or some founder thought that they can start the company which can host this model. Okay, so what they done, they have a some infra. Okay, so infra is means computational infra. So they have created a company and they provide basically a computational infra. So they host this model. So what they purchased big size GPUs, okay, and means computers. And let's say if you have to use, uh, you can pay some money to them, and then you can use those GPU, use their computer. Okay, so that is one way. Other way is, let's say they host some model like Quen, DeepSeek, Meta, and they ask, okay, you can basically pay for those model. So they basically created some form of API. Okay, so API is nothing but, let's say they have some computers. For example, this company are mostly in USA. Okay, most of the company. So let's say they have created a computer, means they have purchased some computers, very high computational power computer, and they hosted this model. Hosted means they installed this model in their system. Now from India, if you want, if you have to access those model, okay, uh, then you can, basically they have created some API. So API is nothing but communication between you and their model. Okay, so API have to communicate safely. So in API there will be a some key, means not every people can access those things. If they pay, they can, the people who pay, they only can basically use their API or their model. Okay, so because of that, there are many companies came. So Grok is a one company. Okay, similarly AWS Bedrock, they also hosted some model. But AI, that is Google. So Google has their model, but they hosted some open source model also. So Google, similarly in Azure also they have Azure AI. They have hosted this model. There are some Nova, okay, uh, Serens, I think. So there are many together AI. Okay, so these are, there are many other companies. Basically, they hosted this model, and you can use those model by paying something, and you can use their API. Okay, now there are some, as I said, Olama. Let's say if you have your own machine and which is very powerful, so Olama mainly have model weights. Okay, and you can download it from, so Olama is one source. Hugging Face, almost most of the open source model are in Hugging Face, and from Hugging Face you can download this model and you can install this model in your system. So Olama and Hugging Face, from this place you can download these models. Okay, now let's see it in website. Okay, Olama. Okay, so if you see here that GPT OSS, right? Again, if you see, so this is a 20B. 20B means 20 billion parameter, 120B. So these are model size, means if you download it, so the size will be 14 GB. Like if you download a movie, there are like 4 GB or 8 GB. Similarly, if you have to download this model, these are the sizes. Okay, but as I said, for 120 billion, how the GPU will be required will be almost 2.5 times. So you will be required 250 GB GPU. Okay, so there is a difference between GPU and CPU. So generally in many computer GPU will be very less. Okay, and if for 20 billion also, so this model you cannot run. Okay, but because most of the machines have not that capability. Similarly, you can see DeepSeek. So this is also a open source model. Okay, so they also have a different. Uh, so there are big model, 671 billion parameter, 70 billion, 32 billion. So different version. So the accuracy, okay, accuracy means, let's say if you ask some question and you know this output is correct. Okay, so that I'm talking about the accuracy. So the bigger model will have better accuracy. The smaller model will have less accuracy, but this model will run fast because the number of parameter is less. Okay. So DeepSeek, um, Gamma Gamma 3 is a open source. So Gemini is a paid one. Gamma 3 is a open source model. Uh, Developed by Google only. Okay, so this they release some open source model as well. Okay, so in that also 270 million, 1 billion, 4 billion, 12 billion, 27 billion. Okay, so if anyone want to basically download the model, do not try to download the model with having more than 4 billion. If you have a 16 GB RAM. Okay, similarly Quen 3, if you see, so this Quen 3 6.6 billion, 1.7, then to 35 billion. Okay, so from Olama there are many models are available, so all these model are free to use. Okay, but if you see, you will not see the GPT 3.5 because that is a paid one. Okay, this GPT OSS, so they OpenAI, I think this month, September or maybe August last, they have released this model, GPT OSS. So that is a open source model. Okay, so they have released two open source model. Okay, if you see also, OpenAI is open weight model design for. Okay, and you can also you can search Llama. So Llama is mainly a Facebook. Okay, Meta. So that is a Llama. So this is one source where you can download the model. Other source is Hugging Face. Hugging Face. Simply write Hugging Face and go to your models. Okay. So how many model you can count? So it is a 2 lakh, sorry, 20 lakh 92,763 models are available. Okay. So all these are LLM models. Okay. So this many number of models are available and you can basically from here in from Hugging Face you can download this model and installed it in your system. Okay, so because of that Hugging Face is very famous. Okay, if you have to download the model. Okay, so from here you can download the model. Similarly, as I said, there are some providers, okay, which hosted the model. Okay, and you can use those model. So Grok is uh, basically one of the things. So they hosted models, right? If you see the pricing, okay, so the model they have is a they hosted these models: Llama Guard, Gamma 2, Llama 3, Llama 3.1, 3.3, Mistral, Quen 3, DeepSeek, GPT OSS, Kimi K2. Okay, so these are the models that they have hosted. Okay, so Grok is one. So you can create account in a Grok. Okay, and let's log out how you can create account in Grok. So simply um, here means go to Grok and you can log in with Google. Okay, and let's say if I use this mail ID. Okay, and go to API keys, or maybe in next class I will tell how to generate API key. But first create a account in Grok. Okay, so very simple to create account in Grok. Uh, there are some no Sambova, sorry, Sam Nova. Okay, Sam Nova system. So they also basically have hosted the model. Okay, but we will not use it. But just for your information, Seren's, I think, Seren's AI. I forget the name. Okay, this also we will not use. So in our course, mainly we will use a Grok, and so there is a one more thing like Together AI. Okay, Together AI. So they also hosted the model, and pricing you can see. So these are the model that they have hosted. Okay, image model, audio model. There are many models that they have hosted, and here also you can uh, purchase those API to use those model. Okay, so just you can create an account in a Grok or Together AI. Either, or you can basically create account on both the platform. Creating account is a free. Okay, and one more thing that will be required in this course will be GPT, Chat GPT. So Chat GPT, Chat GPT Playground. Simply write Chat Playground. Uh, the second link, okay, Chat Playground, and from here you can log in and continue with Google. Let's say, and simply choose your email ID. Okay, and go to API reference or docs. Go to docs, dashboard. Okay, so here setting button is there, right? So go to settings and go to billing. If you go to billing here, there will be one option will come, add to credit balance. Okay, then you can add, let's say if I add $10, and then card details will be required, and basically this is just like a recharging. Okay, so based on the usage it will uh, this, let's say if you upload 10 or you add $10 to this, then based on uses slowly this will get uh, based on the usage the amount get detected. Okay, so $10 will be enough for this entire course for GenAI. So you can purchase this means Chat GPT will be required because most of the companies are using GPT model, okay, as a API key. So for this entire course of GenAI, $10 will be more than enough, and this will be required because this GenAI. So $10 will be around not 2000, means around thousand rupees it will come. So I think 89 rupees per dollar. So uh, so $10 890, and then there will be some GST. So around 1000 rupees the pricing will come. So I request everyone to please before the next class uh, try to have this thing is try to purchase uh, this OpenAI API key and recharge with $10. Okay, and similarly uh, you can buy these as well. Uh, the cost or why I am telling to buy this as well. Most of the times uh, we will try to use this grok because this is much cheaper, okay, as compared to the chat gpt. So here also you can buy something, and apart from that we will have where we will require a smaller model. At that time we will directly use the model from the olama, okay, and this will be free of cost because the computation is happening in your computer, and for other the model size is quite large, so the computation is happening at server, because of that only we are paying, okay. So we will try to we will use based on what the application, or if the problem is complex, at that time we will require a bigger model, okay. So you should have the information of open source model, private model, and also you should have hands-on on different types of model. uh, you should know what are the performance of this model. So it is like you have a 10 different cars from different company. Unless you drive it you cannot feel the difference, okay. You don't know the difference. And also there are some cars which may work in a off-road condition, means where the road is not there, some kacha road sort of thing. There are some which giving better mileage, there are some which giving more power. So similarly in llm also there are different types of models, and all model have different capabilities, okay. So once you have a hands-on in means when you uh, seeing the output from this model, you will be able to figure it out what are the performance of this model, and where we can, which sort of problem, which uh, based on the problem, uh, basically you will able to figure it out what type of model I can use. So company are mainly looking for expertise. First expertise they are looking for whether you have hands-on on this model or not, okay. And they also want to know, you only suggest, okay, let's say they have given some problem, okay, and definitely different model, smaller model will have lesser cost and bigger model will have bigger cost, right. So if you can give same performance with a smaller model, you are basically helping company to reduce the cost for that product, right. So if you have all this expertise, okay, for which problem, for particular problem, which model to fit or which model to use, then uh, basically company looking for such candidate who know which model perform, means which model to fit on that problem, okay. So the cost is very important factor when you try or develop any application. uh, so based on that criteria we choose model along with the performance. So cost is one factor, accuracy is other factor, uh, similarly there are other factors, right. So all this factor we need to consider, and then we have to suggest some models, okay. So because of that only I am asking you to uh, chat gpt. Most of the company are using chat gpt, but right now there are some open source model also which are performing good. So we should have the information of all those things. So uh, mm, in next class, try to buy the chat GPT key, and the same thing that I have told you, uh, billing. Okay. And similarly, Grok, create an account on Grok, and here it is saying, no, get started for free. Earlier it was free, but right now I don't know. But you can create an account, try to create a API keys. Okay. And if he asks for payment details, then only you can give the payment details. Otherwise, try to use it as a free. Okay. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So just create account on Grok and Chat GPT. Means GPT. Okay. Maybe I can send you the. I will send you the link of this GPT where you can basically purchase this thing. Okay. Yeah. So any question till now? We haven't started.
Yes, sir.
Just I've given
Yes,
the
sir.
overview. Yeah.
Sir, two questions, sir. So first question is that you were telling that this all things started when Google released that transformer paper.
Mhm.
I want to ask, if I'm not wrong, before that we were using on iPhones, there were Siri and all that. So what on what thing did this Siri works?
So what
I
Siri
mean,
was
on
doing?
that. Yeah, yes.
What Siri was doing?
Yeah, I mean, on what platform Siri was working before, because Siri was way before all these things.
So before that also chatbot was there, right?
It's like
Yeah.
NLP, like the speech recognition and everything, deep learning.
Sorry.
It's like Siri was working on speech recognition and everything. Like it's not a memory thing.
Yes. So they have some fixed sort of output, and they are not that intelligent. Okay.
Okay.
The intelligent was very less. And if you if I give you the current scenario also, the Siri. Okay. So in Apple, uh, so that iPhone 17, 16 came last year, right?
Yes.
So right now in September, they means I think 20 September they are releasing the iPhone 17. So in iPhone 16 they said that it will have intelligent. Okay, but still
Yes.
they're not able to update that feature to those iPhone. Okay, so there are some companies making fun of that Siri also. Uh, so so earlier Siri came, but that is a mainly a speech recognition sort of thing. So basic speech recognition, they able to, let's say if you say something, okay, so they able to convert into a text, okay, and let's say there are text, and then there are normal operations, right? Normal operation in the sense, uh, let's say if you ask to open music app, okay, so they find the keyword music, okay, and okay, so based on that they just said okay, music mapping is there, so music is basically related to this music app. Okay, so this there is a some sort of mapping, not the LLM that they are using. Okay, so only after 2017 only the transformer paper came, where the attention is all you need. Uh, the paper name was attention is all you need, and based on that the Nobel Prize also recently given to the researcher. Um, so because after that only this LLM field evolved, and that too because of OpenAI released the GPT model.
Okay. And so one more question, sir.
Mhm,
Sir, suppose it's just a suggestion. I mean, suppose if we want to buy the GPT and the cost is around 1,000 as you told. So
mhm.
what if we create one email ID and we provide that email ID password to all the members in the class, and from one email ID only we buy that subscription and we all use it. Is it possible?
So it is not like means pay as per you go. Let's say, let's say if I give you uh, let, let's say if we create a single id and let's say if I put $10 on it, right? So
Yes.
it is depend on how much use. Let's say 10 people may not use at the same, means
Okay,
uh,
okay, got it, sir. It is
same,
the cost is as per use.
right? It is
Yeah,
not like
okay,
a
got
fixed cost.
okay, cool,
Okay.
got it, sir.
So it is like just you have recharged something. It is like a post prepaid. Okay. But
Yeah,
this prepaid
like
is a first you recharge
sir,
and then. Mhm.
okay, got it, sir.
And sir, and as you said that 1.5 billion parameters like that.
Mhm.
So what does that like the word parameter means? Like for example, if you take an ML model, like we have so many parameters for if you consider tree based like algorithm, they have like n nodes like that. So parameter means that those are some arguments or some numbers which represent
Some
something.
numbers. So in deep learning also, uh, so there are different nodes, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
so
So if
all
we change
these
the
nodes.
parameter,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
whole model will getting changed, right? If we do
Right,
instead of 1.2, if we keep one, it's like we say we can doing like what when we say that tuning, like it's a type of
right,
tuning,
right. Yeah.
something like that. So these parameters, this one. So you are saying that this whole model is containing these much of parameters which are running that model.
Right.
So if
So
we
let's.
change,
Mhm.
if we change any one number, the whole model may change or crash.
We cannot change.
Okay, those are static. Like
Yes, yes.
cannot change. Okay, okay. And how can we say that? Is there any specific formula, or is there anything that for this much of parameters, this amount of GPU is equal? Like for example, you have said that like 1.2, we need 4 GPU like that. Is there any
Mhm.
specific formula, or how we define it? Like
So
this is
that
the
is very
specific.
that is very simple actually. So let's say there are you are storing a number. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many numbers will be there? Let's say 1.5 billion. So 150 cr basically
Okay.
numbers will be there, right? So
Yes.
for each number, how much memory is required? Okay.
Okay.
And since you have to run it in parallelly, so you have to, let's say, for each number, uh, because there will be some sort of quantization. Okay, so
Yes.
64 bit, 32 bit,
Yes.
16 bit, right? So
Yes.
let's say 64 bit. So how many bytes will be there? So okay, so in, let's say in 64, uh, there are in one byte how many bits are there?
Okay. Like 8 like
8
that.
bit,
Like
8
8
bit,
bit.
right?
8 bit.
So let's say 8 bytes in 64 bit. Let's say if you are storing a number into a 64 bit. Okay, so total 8 byte is there, right? So 8
Okay.
byte into that 1.5 billion.
Okay. Okay.
So this is how, this is the size of that, right? Then you have to, let's say if you do the computation, so you have to, at the time of computation, this all this model will be placed into a gpu. Okay, so
Okay. Okay.
unless that come into a gpu, means it, unless it fit into that gpu, you cannot able to run those things. Okay, let's say your
Okay.
gpu size is 2 GB, but you are fit, try to fit the 16 GB model. Okay, the model size is only 16 GB, so you cannot fit. Okay,
Okay.
so this is how basically we are uh, uh, so there is a thumb rule, that is a 2.5 times, mainly let's say model weight is 1 billion, then 2.5 times 2.5 GB uh, is required.
So much how much parameters are required into 2.5.
Right. So in
Okay.
terms of 1 billion, so for 1
Okay.
billion, 2.5. So let's say
Okay.
175 billion. So 175 into 2.5. Okay.
Okay. And you are
So,
saying that there were
mm,
two models like BERT and OpenAI. Are we using
mhm.
BERT now? Like some models, BERT models are being used now also. Like
Yes,
or
yes. So BERT is basically a embedding model. Okay. So
okay,
that is a encoder only. So encoder in the sense we are encoding. Let's say if you are writing a text, so we are encoding into a number format.
like vectors, like a vector-based
Right.
database like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. Okay.
So there are different embedding models also.
So we are
Okay, that
so in this class we will cover vector database like quadrant or pine cone like that.
all these thing I will cover. Okay,
Okay,
but
okay,
yeah,
okay,
just today I have just given the how this thing evolved, but yes,
okay, okay, okay,
we'll cover
okay,
everything how we are generating the how this LLM model generating the text. All these thing we will see. Okay.
okay,
Huh. So first, only requirement is try to buy the that chat GPT key. Okay. uh, you can take the help, means if anyone having a chat GPT key or no. Chat GPT subscription will be there, right? Yeah, maybe some people have taken, but that is different, right? That is
Sir, Gemini Pro and Perplexity Pro, that one.
a means chat means there they have created some app, and you can chat only, but if you have to use it in your code, you cannot use those things, right?
like sir, we can
So,
take
sir,
GPT-5,
basically
like
what
it's
I
around 400
understood.
per month like that.
Just let complete Soumya, then I will come to you, Anil. Okay.
Okay,
Huh,
so
so
basically, sir, what I understood that those credits, I mean, the payments we are paying to the ChatGPT API key.
mhm.
So, like this, the every time we raise a request, it will use some amount from that, and then it will complete the request, like token based.
Yes, so the cost will be depending on the tokens. So in next class, I will tell how the what are the tokens, and what
Okay.
based on what this cost is coming, so that you can know how to control the cost. Okay.
Okay, so that means that if we are giving a prompt, it will also depend on that.
Yes. Prompt means, let's say if you are in next class, I do not want to confuse other people. So
Okay,
in
okay, no
next
problem, no
class,
problem, sir.
I will tell all those things how we are before using that thing. I will tell so that you can have a better control of your costing or the recharge that you have done.
Oh,
So you will have better control, and
okay, sir,
also it
got it,
depend
sir.
on the model as well, which model you are using. Okay.
Okay,
Uh, in
understood.
ChatGPT also there are different models like GPT-4, GPT 3.5 have different cost, GPT-5 have different cost, GPT 4.
So,
Mhm,
yeah, so basically the API key we are purchasing,
mhm.
so for which model it will be?
So this is for all the model. In when you
Okay,
write
so
a
we
code
can
now,
use all the
there you
models.
can
Okay,
write the model name. So it will charge based
okay,
on the model name that you are writing.
okay. So every time we use, it will be depend on the model we have selected, and then the like
So in
the prompt we
next
have provided.
tell all those things in detail.
Okay, okay, okay. Got it,
Uh,
sir. Thank you,
uh,
sir.
Yeah, Ragwa.
Like this, should we buy like GPT any subscription like GPT-5 or
No, not
directly?
there is a no subscription for API. Okay.
Okay,
So you can only, let's say you can the minimum requirement is I think $5. So you can
okay,
recharge with $5. Maybe
okay,
if if you do not want to buy for $10,
okay,
that is okay. But you can minimum amount that you need to basically credit is a $5.
okay, okay,
Okay, so but $10 is more than enough for this entire GenAI course where we will use image, speech, text as a input. So $10 is more than enough. Okay, so
okay, okay.
better to I think $10 is not that much, but if anyone having some problem, so you can start with $5, and once that get exhausted, again you can recharge it to $5. Okay. Yeah, Adit, you are telling something.
No, sir, nothing, sir.
Okay. Uh, so any other
Sir,
question?
this
Uh-huh. Hi,
the
Hitesh.
starting class, introductory class, you told about Claude and OpenAI connection, but next day only there was news that Claude is not allowing, like Anthropic is not allowing OpenAI API keys and all.
No, no. So Anthropic is not allowing. Anthropic is little costly. So because of that only I haven't uh, means you can buy the API key of Anthropic as well. Okay. Uh, I will uh, tell you how to use Anthropic as well. Uh, but right now ChatGPT is more than enough. Okay, the performance is quite comparable. The chat GPT and Anthropic performance is quite similar. Okay. And so Anthropic also provide API key. So no API means, uh, let's say Anthropic API key. If you write, okay, get API key. So here also you need to sign and you can buy the API key. So Anthropic website you can go. Uh, what was your doubt actually? Means you said that Anthropic is not allowing the OpenAI API key, right?
Okay.
Anyhow, we
Yes.
cannot use a means one key to other means, let's say Anthropic has different models and ChatGPT has a different models. Anthropic model name are Claude. Okay. Only thing is like they have created some sort of framework where you can insert the other API key as well, but only if they allow. At that time only, means in that scenario only you can use it, but do not confuse with that thing. Just buy the chat gpt API key. Then in future classes I will tell how to that is almost similar, 100% similar to how we are using the chat gpt API key and how we can use the Anthropic API key.
So
Okay.
buying team is just recharging, right? Like
Yes,
anything.
yes, yes, yes. Just recharging, and every, like in Tropic also, if you buy API key, they will charge according to the usage or the number of token that it's generating, and how many tokens we are inputting to that model. So it
Okay.
depends on the model size or model name, and so there are different pricing for different models. Okay. So in next class, I will show all the things. Like if you see here the pricing, right? So for different model, the pricing is different. $0.1, 0.15, right? Similarly, in ChatGPT also, there are different models and their pricing. So I will show you the, in next class, I will show you the API pricing of Anthropic as well. And if you want, you can buy the API key of Anthropic. Okay. Yeah, but Anthropic is little costly, so because of that only I'm not suggesting right now to buy the API key of Anthropic. But yeah, in future classes I will tell how to use Anthropic Claude code, uh, which is a very good way of writing a code. But before that, you should know the basics of GenAI. This is like a shortcut, Anthropic Claude code for your work to increase the productivity. Uh, so that I will tell how to use it. And yeah, any other question? So I will send you the that chat gpt from where you can buy, because there is a two different thing. One is a chat gpt that you people you're using, okay, or most of the people using in app form, right? So but that is different, that is a subscription. So they charge monthly some amount, $20 around something. But this API key is different. Okay. So I will send you the link, and from there you can buy those API key. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for today's class. In next class, it will be much clearer to you how we are using those things. Okay. Yeah. Okay, then we will stop the class now.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, thanks.